We have got a really rough Conquest here coming up, guys. And I know I love to put out Conquest videos. You guys love checking out the Conquest videos that we've got here. And my goal is always to give you kind of one of the most free-to-play friendly ways to try to red crate Conquest as much as possible. Well, hate to break it to you guys, but this Conquest might be Wales or us. Alright, so first and foremost, guys, we're going to take a look at our feats across the board here, kind of getting into what is required, what some of the general things are that we really need to focus in on. In terms of each individual sector, so basically, what this boils down to, folks, is you need to have the latest and greatest things. You need to have Enoch, you need to have Peridia Death Trooper, you need to have Night Trooper. You also need to have Morgan Elsbeth. Those are the brand new toys, guys. You need to have those. If you don't have those, you might be able to squiggle out Gold Crate. But here's the bad news. Even to get Gold Crate, you're going to need the following teams and/or characters. Queen Amidala. The Gungans. Geos, oddly enough. That's kind of an odd one. And some Nightsisters. So, while a lot of people probably have Geonosians, a lot of people probably have Nightsisters, they may not have them all really at high levels of relics. And with the level of feats that we have here, the number of feats across all sectors that we have here for all of these different factions, the problem is you're just going to be constantly boiling down your stamina on each of these teams over and over and over and over again. And it's going to become very difficult to do these feats because you just simply aren't going to have the stamina to keep those teams functional. So, what we're going to do here today, guys, is look a little bit at some of the teams that you are going to need to red crate, some of the teams that you should use or try to use to get gold crate, and then maybe some easy free-to-play ways to get some of these feats that you may not have thought of that could be beneficial to you if you don't have any of these teams. Before we move on into the main thing, I do want to point out that the global feats are actually not super terrible. 20 battles with Nightsisters, that's pretty doable. Stagger 100 times, very doable. 20 battles with a full squad of Imperial Remnants, that might be rough for some people, but I think most people could probably throw together an Imperial Remnant team to some degree and get 20 battles in, especially in Sector 1. You know, you cheese the Datacron farm for that. You should be able to do that pretty easily. 15 battles with 4 Gungans. I know that might seem difficult, but you can run a dash lead, and you should be able to do that one. And then, of course, 15 battles with Master Qui-Gon surviving is doable if you have a JML and you can kind of tweak those things to work. So, again, there's good news and there's bad news. The good news being that we can probably get most of our global feats. We might be able to get maybe half of our sector feats. And if you whale out, well, then you're great. You're golden. You're going to do very well. All right, with that being said, what we're going to do now, guys, we're going to kind of switch over to our top 10 format here. And let me go ahead and adjust my camera so you guys can see me properly. There we go. Okay, so first and foremost with this, folks, I'm going to kind of work in backwards order from the least accessible stuff to the most accessible stuff that we have here, or probably the easiest stuff is what I would say is our number one here. So and plus we're going to have a bonus at the end as well, folks. We will also have a bonus just as an FYI. So at number 10, we have DTMG Lead Remnant. We're going to talk about the Remnant teams first, the Imperial Remnant teams first. At number 9, we have the Enoch-led Remnant teams. So let's get over and take a look here at our first two teams. So we've got the DTMG-led Imperial Remnant. This is probably the most free-to-play version-friendly that we have out there at this point in time, with DTMG lead, Moff Gideon, Scout Trooper, Death Trooper, Stormtrooper. Also, as a reminder, guys, remember that TIE Fighter Pilot has now been moved over to our Imperial Remnant faction. So he is an option for you to use. This is going to get you all your Imperial Remnant stuff, which is great. You also, if you don't have DTMG, you theoretically could try to do a Moff Gideon lead. I don't think it's going to work very well for you. but just as another option in case you guys don't have DTMG, you might be able to finagle some of that stuff in the earlier sectors. At minimum, get some of your global feats with that team as well. The real ideal team, though, I think, guys, is going to be what we see down here with Captain Enoch. There's so many sector feats, unfortunately, that involve Captain Enoch with Blight and all of his specific feats that only are specific mechanics that are only usable by him. You're going to want an Enoch lead. You're going to need Death Trooper Peridia for a lot of stuff. The kills from Death Trooper Peridia requirement is just absurdly difficult. Night Trooper. Then what I would do is I would probably fill out this team with Stormtrooper just so you have a tank to try to kind of take some of the heat off of Enoch, so to speak. And then I would put TIE Fighter Pilot in here. He is extremely fast. He can get ability block out the gate, which is really nice if you outrun the opposing team. So he's going to do some really nice things for you here, especially if you're trying to run a second Imperial Remnant team, which is what I recommend. I recommend essentially trying to run two different teams. One a Captain Enoch team, and then one a DTMG team. What I would do personally here in this situation, guys, is I would take my Stormtrooper out of my DTMG team, put it with my Captain Enoch team, and I just run a 4-man team for my DTMG team. You could still get a lot of Sector 1 and Sector 2 feats with a 4-man team there. Would I go into Sector 5 trying that? Probably not. It depends on my data discs that I have, but I probably would be able to do that in Sectors 1, 2, maybe 3 if I'm really lucky. Same thing is true with Captain Enoch here, guys. If you have him at Gear 11, so everybody should be able to get these 3 characters up to Gear 11, which allows you to do some feats. Okay, so things like being able to get Blight on the board. You don't necessarily have to win, guys. You just have to get it. You just have to attempt to put Blight on people, and that's a feat that you can get. You can cheese that feat. So don't feel like you immediately cannot do any of the feats that involve Captain Enoch, Death Trooper Peridia, or Night Trooper. There are ones that you can do. Get them to Gear 11, and they will be able to get some of those feats and be successful for you. Now, you can see the next one that we've got here, guys, clearly is going to be our Nightsisters. So let's go ahead back here. We'll go ahead and run it real quick. We've got Talzin Nightsisters and our Elsbeth Nightsisters. And I know my camera's in the way, but we're going to go back to the game real quick anyway, so we can just leave it there. Yay, professionalism. Now, for the next two teams, guys, so again, I'm kind of giving you two different ideas in terms of teams that we can run simultaneously. Obviously, you don't have to run these both at the same time. You can instead maybe do the best version of one of these teams and just pound it to the ground and say, you know what, forget the Morgan Elsbeth feats. I'm just not going to bother with them. Same thing is true with Nightsister Acolyte. For me personally, I did get the Lightspeed bundle for the Nightsisters, so there's a little more viability for me here to pull off some of these extra Nightsister feats. You can see my Morgan Elsbeth right now is only at Gear 8. If I really want to go hard on the Morgan Elsbeth stuff, I will take her to Gear 11. Personally, I'm holding off on that right now because I am in a bit of a Chirotech crunch. I'll explain why in a little bit here. So I would rather keep her at Gear 8, and if I have to not do anybody's feats, it's going to be Morgan Elsbeth. Especially because she's got a get 35 kills with her feat. Like, no. That's just not going to happen. So if there's any one character that I'm going to be forgetting about and not going for, it's probably Morgan Elsbeth here, guys. And for me personally, also, I'm trying to pursue more the Ahsoka route as opposed to the Baylan Skull route. So for me, Morgan is not as vital as some of the other characters like Captain Enoch, Death Trooper, and Night Trooper. But if you really want to go gung-ho and try to use all of these Nightsisters and all of their feats, these are probably the two best comps. Reminder, guys, Morgan Elsbeth prevents revives, okay? You do not want a revive-heavy mechanic team with Morgan Elsbeth in it. So, for instance, you do not want Talzin, you do not want Daka, you do not want Marin, you do not want those characters in the same squad as Morgan Elsbeth. That's why I have Asajj as a lead character here for the other leftover Nightsisters. I feel like that's probably the best situation. Obviously, that totally neuters her whole rampage effect, but it's the best that we have right now. Until we have the Great Mothers released, which I'm assuming is going to be the lead for the Morgan Elsbeth Nightsister team, you got to work with what you got, guys. Maybe we'll drop the Great the Great Mother in the middle of Conquest. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that, by the way, guys. Next, the second week of Conquest. Oh, guys, here, by the way, here's the leader that you actually need to be able to make this work. Oh, thanks, CG. Thanks. You're great. So, again, those are two vitally essential teams, guys, that, again, you may not have the second version of this. You may not be running that Morgan Elsbeth team, but most of you should be able to put together a Nightsister team and get a lot of those Nightsister feats, even if you are not doing the actual Morgan Elsbeth stuff. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead back to our top 10. I'll move my camera this time, guys. I'll be a little bit more professional for you. So the next one that we have here, you're all going to love it. The Gungans and Queen Amidala. These are a little bit more friendly at this point than what, say, like Morgan Elsbeth and the Night Trooper, Captain Enoch, Peridia Trooper, etc., are. At least these characters have been out for a little while, but they're still rough. They are a raid requirement. If I'll say this, guys, if you have to choose to focus on either Queen Amidala / Gungans or Elsbeth Nightsisters and Enoch Remnant, focus on Gungans and Queen Amidala. They are vital to the raid. They're good teams in all game modes at this point in time. These are two teams that you should be working on, if not already finished with. They are that good. Do not put them off, folks. With that being said, let me go ahead and we're going to keep the camera here now, guys, because you can actually see stuff. We're going to go ahead and slide down to these two teams. So just as an example here, guys, you can see I do have my Gungans. The Gungans were the first team I focused on for the raid. Mine are Gear 8 plus Jar Jar at Gear 9. They're going to absolutely wreck. I don't have to worry about Gungan feats at all, which is great. But, like I said, guys, if you don't have Jar Jar yet, okay, if you haven't gotten Jar Jar, put in Dash. Dash lead, throw your other 4 Gungans in with him, and if you're able to get a Zealous Ambition, which unfortunately, as of me making this video, we don't know what the data discs are going to be, guys. So, keep in mind, Zealous Ambition may not be there. But if you can get a couple of Zealous Ambitions on your Dash, guys, he will just nuke the entire team. So it doesn't matter what gear level your Gungans are. He'll be able to do it for you. So that's the way that I did it back when my Gungans were only like Gear 11. I didn't have them at 7 stars yet. I ran a Dash lead, put the other 4 in there, and I was able to do the Gungan feats very, very easily. So that is something that, again, you may not have this team up and running yet, guys, but it's very doable. It is something that everybody can do. Everybody can make work as long as you've got Dash. If you don't have Dash, guys, throw in Sortie. Have Sortie do your lead. She can also nuke the entire board in one shot if you have those Zealous Ambitions. There are ways to make that team work, to make that 4 Gungan feat work. Or if you've got a feat where they are surviving, where you have to have Captain Tarple survive, for instance. That's one of the boss NAS feats. Or one of the boss node feats, I should say. You can make those work, guys. Those may be a little bit more difficult on the boss nodes, because it may be a little more complex in the battle, but you can make it work, especially if you have the right data disk set. Queen Amidala, you can see, she is actually my current project at the moment. I got them up to Relic 3 just recently, like literally yesterday, so that I can kind of get them up and running in the raid. I saw that these were big time requirements for the current Conquest. I was only going to take them up to 7 stars, Gear 12, and leave them at that. And then I saw all of these requirements for the feats, and I was like, okay, let's go to Relics. So I got them both, all 3 to Relic 3. That should pretty much be functional enough for me in Conquest. You can see I also threw in Qui-Gon and Kelleran Beck on this team. Not that I recommend that you use this specific comp, guys. This is more of just an allusion to the fact that there are some feats that require both Master Qui-Gon and Qui-Gon to be in the same team. There are also some feats that require Kelleran Beck to be in the team as well. So I just threw those 2 in there just as a little reminder. Hey, these are some characters that have some feats as well. If you're not throwing Kelleran Beck in with another Jedi team, which we'll talk about later, maybe you can throw them in here, get some extra feats done while you are at it. Same thing with Qui-Gon Jinn as well. Again, if you do not have this team up and running, if you don't have the trio here, Queen Amidala, Master Qui-Gon, and Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi, look at putting them in with some other teams, guys. I didn't have Queen Amidala or Qui-Gon or Pal at 7 stars for the last Conquest. I just took my Master Qui-Gon and my Pal up to Gear 11 again, threw them in with a JML squad, sometimes threw them in with a JMK squad, and I was able to get them to survive. I was able to get them kills with JML if I needed to. So again, there's great alternatives to make these teams work if you don't have this specific comp for the feats. Queen Amidala, same idea. You could throw her in with the JMK is probably what I would recommend for survivability, and you can make a lot of that work, guys. Again, there are some ways around these feats, even though they are still very new characters. With that being said, let's go ahead and look at the next group. And like I said, guys, the nice thing is we started with what I think is the most difficult stuff, the most difficult feats and character requirements. And now we're moving to the least difficult and some of the things that I think everybody here should be able to get no matter where you are in the game. Now, the next team, Geonosians. Like I said, the downside with Geonosians is that you have a ton of feats with this team, folks. And your stamina is just going to go really, really fast, unfortunately. Our number 3 team is the Galactic Republic Jedi. And there are very, very, very large number of combos of teams that you can use with this. So again, let's look at the teams that I've got here, guys, on the board. My Geos, I did, again, get the Lightspeed bundle for this. So mine are at Relic 3 or higher. If you have yours at Relic, or not even Relic, if you have yours at Gear 12, maybe, you know, Brute Alpha or Spy at Relic levels, that's what I had before I got the Lightspeed bundle. You're still going to be able to make this work, but you're going to have a really very regimented plan to your approach to Conquest. What I mean by that is that you are going to need to make sure you do kind of like for what I, for instance, did with my light side Mandalorian teams when we had the light side Mandalorian feats. Mine were only, I mean, really, that team was not very good. I did not have Bo Mandalore, so I had to kind of just do 2 battles a day, 2 battles a day, 2 battles a day, 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening, 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening, something like that, and just had to space it out throughout the entirety of the Conquest to be able to get that feat. You're probably going to have to do the same thing here with the Geonosians. Will they be able to win and get wins and kills and things like that? Yes, probably, especially Spy in particular can get the kills, but you're not going to be able to just sit there and run 10 battles of these in a day, guys. They will get annihilated, even at high relic levels. They're just not thick enough. They just don't have the recovery enough to be able to survive very long. So this is a team that you need to start by doing 1 or 2 battles in the morning, 1 or 2 battles in the evening, and do that every day throughout the Conquest, and you'll be able to get those feats. Again, is it kind of a grind? Yes, absolutely it is a grind. But it is doable, even at Gear 12, even if you're not at the high relic levels, guys. Doable, not great, not ideal, but doable. For the Galactic Republic Jedi, this is actually, I think, one of the most easiest feats to get done, mostly because, again, of the fact that Kelleran Beck does not have to have high relics for him to be able to survive and work in a JMK team, for instance, or in like a Padme team. You can throw him in a Padme team, and he probably has some decent survivability. Again, just as a little reminder here, guys, you're going to want Qui-Gon Jinn and Master Qui-Gon Jinn on the same teams for a lot of these feats. So just keep that in mind when you're in certain sectors. If you're going to throw in any kind of a Galactic Republic Jedi team, whether it be JMK lead or maybe a Qui-Gon Jinn lead, if you're going for Foresights, things like that, you want to make sure you have Master Qui-Gon and Qui-Gon in the same team. You might even want to, like I said, with the Queen Amidala team, run your Qui-Gon, your Pal, and your Kelleran Beck in that team as well, and you could knock out literally 3 or 4 or more feats with one team. It's a great kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone kind of comp. But again, there's lots of options for you guys with those. That's a relatively fair one for people to get. Shouldn't have too much difficulty getting that one. All right, numbers 2 and 1 are really feats that are attainable through many different teams, and I'm going to give you just kind of the teams that I think are probably best for these feats, and we'll get you there most easily. First of all, we're talking about Evasion Up, guys. Evasion Up with CLS teams. This is a very easy feat. We'll talk about that a little bit more here in a second. And then Seer Ufus, we're specifically talking about Accuracy Up, that feat. For CLS, and by the way, guys, we do also have a bonus thing here at the end that I'll talk about. We've got one more extra bonus team, although it's not really a team. Oops. I just realized I wasn't showing you guys the screen. Take 2. Guys, Han Solo, his third ability here, Evasion Up, gives all allies Evasion Up, guys. This is great for 2 turns. So you can use CLS squads. They work very well. If you don't have CLS for any reason, maybe you don't have Chewpio, that kind of a thing, you can also run this under a Dash lead team as well, guys. You can run Dash, Han, and Chewie. You'll still be able to get wins pretty easily. He still gives all of his allies evasion up. It is a great, great ability. Very easy way to get evasion up. Our accuracy up ability, guys, Seer Junda here, does accuracy up for all allies on her basic. This is amazing. So I specifically have the Ufu team here just because that's kind of where her synergy lies. And plus, I do believe also there's some synergy with Cal Kestis in terms of accuracy up as well. But let's say you don't have this team up and running, guys. Just throw Seer in with like a Ray team. Throw Seer in with a JML team. And you can just spam her basic over and over and over again. And you will get those accuracy up feats done in no time at all. So again, you don't necessarily have to have the ideal top tier version of either of these teams here with Han Solo and Seer, but you run either of those characters, gear 11 even, you're going to get those feats very, very quickly. Very, very easy to do. Now, as I mentioned earlier, guys, I do have a bonus team. This is team in a very loose sense because it's not really a team. The other big feat that we have here that's kind of weird, and a lot of people have been racking their brains, a lot of the content creators have been racking their brains on what we should do to get it, is the 50 bonus turn feat. So keep in mind, bonus turns are different than gaining 100% turn meter or swapping turn meter. So Thrawn, for instance, swaps turn meter. He does not do a bonus turn. Anybody that has Frenzy, if you have Bosk, or if you have Biston, and they have the Frenzy ability, that is not a bonus turn. That is 100% turn meter. So keep in mind that you have to have bonus turns. The team I'm going to show you here, guys, does not look anything like a team at all, but it is characters that are able to get bonus turns and can spam those bonus turns pretty quickly and pretty easily. The biggest one, I would say, is Darth Vader. If you can run any team with Darth Vader, and if you've got Lord Vader, this is going to be the easiest feat in the world. Run a Lord Vader lead, put Darth Vader in your team, bam, you're done. You're going to get that feat in absolutely no time at all. And I believe Lord Vader even has a bonus turn built into his kit as well. I don't have Lord Vader, so I don't know that as well. But that is far and away easily the best team for you to run. If you don't have Lord Vader, you could even run C. I don't know that I would run C and Vader alone. I don't know that I'd go with the rule of 2 like I would with Bane there. But you could even put Bane in. Bane also has some bonus turn mechanics built into stuff as well. But C, Darth Vader, Bane, Lord Vader, all 4 of those are going to be great for you. If you don't have more of the dark side of things, you can also lean to the light side levels of things. Jedi Knight Cal Kestis has bonus turns built into his kit. Anytime he cleanses those debuff guys, he gives a bonus turn to the character that you target. Grandmaster Yoda, after he does his AoE jump, then he gets a bonus turn after that. Jedi Knight Anakin under a Padme team, or I shouldn't say under a Padme team, most commonly under a Padme team, is able to get the bonus turn whenever somebody goes below 50% health. And again, that works in any team, guys, to be clear, but just typically speaking, you're probably going to run him with a Padme lead team, but you could run him in a JMK team as well. The only thing I will caution, guys, on Jedi Knight Anakin is remember that bonus turn only spams whenever someone goes below 50% health. So if you're running a team that's going to just annihilate the board, you're never going to get that bonus turn. So be careful about Jedi Knight Anakin. His is not one I would try to focus on. I would try to focus in on characters where it's a guaranteed ability to do a bonus turn. Cal Kestis, Grandmaster Yoda, Darth Vader, all of those characters, it's a guarantee that you'll be able to do those bonus turns. Focus more on characters like that than necessarily Jedi Knight Anakin. So, that pretty much wraps us up here, guys, for our top 10 teams to get you Red Crate for Ezra Bridger. Now, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Hopefully you can get something out of it and find some success. Let me know in the comments, guys, is there a team that I missed? Are there any feats that we kind of didn't cover that we should have covered? And most importantly, let me know if you are going for Red Crate, if you're going for Gold Crate, or if you're just saying, screw it, I hate Conquest. I really would love to know kind of where people are at with this and how whale heavy you think this Conquest is. We discussed this on my most recent Twitch stream, and it was very mixed. We had a lot of mixed opinions on this. I think this is very whale heavy, but I had a lot of people that thought that this was kind of in the middle. It was more like everybody can get Gold Crate. They'll get the character within 6 months. That's pretty fair. Let me know what you guys think. I'd really be intrigued to know what everyone has in terms of thoughts on just how player friendly this set of Conquest feats is, guys. Last but not least, folks, if you guys liked today's video, I'd really appreciate it if you guys gave a thumbs up there. More importantly, if you want to catch more of our content, guys, make sure you subscribe and turn on those notifications. Last but not least, guys, if you want to continue your journey down that Swugger rabbit hole, make sure you check out the next video.